Marconi.
Why does he have a clown face in his anus?
Nick.
That's my bidet. That's what it washes your ass. The walls of the ass.
Tiny.
I love you, but I didn't like anything that you said.
Marconi, Nick, and Tiny.
Oh, who's joining the Facebook group now?
Final podcast.
But let me tell you something. Listen, never, ever let anyone tie you up on the bed. Never do that. Never give anyone completely yourself that way. Don't do it. At the time, you may not be able to think clearly, but the chances are that if you can get away from those people for a while and you have a good night's sleep, you will be able to think of the things that are in your best interest and to protect yourself.
Hello, podcast compadres. It's Marconi. Thank you for checking out another episode of Final Podcast. If this is your first time and you haven't already, make sure and join our Facebook group because a lot of discussions that you hear here on our podcast episodes happen there first. And make sure and follow us on Instagram as well at Final Podcast. And if you're having any kind of trouble finding our episodes on your favorite podcast platform, just go to find us at finalpod.com. And now a product of meticulous magical editing. Please enjoy today's episode. It's another Final Podcast, another final episode. And so we're here. It's not over yet, but you never know. You know, one day we might just walk away from all this glam, right, Tiny?
Yeah, well, not too fast of a walk, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll saunter away. Nick will be chasing his dogs down the street. Andy and I will we'll all walk in three separate directions. One day, probably. You know, Nick, are you there?
I am. I'm still alive. The COVID hasn't got me.
We got a text late last night from Nick. Let me see if I can find my. It said. Let me find it.
That's all I got was
Here's from Nick, because we have like a text group, and usually it has we text each other silly things during the week, and then sometimes it's business, you know, like, hey, here's what's going on. But you know, usually Nick doesn't text back, so I just assume he's dead most of the time, and then when he's not dead, I'm very surprised. I'm happy that he's not. And so it says, hey, I have to go sign some papers at 1:30, so I need to leave here at 1 tomorrow. So hopefully we can start on time. And you know, when I got that text, I can just tell you, late at night, after doing my radio shows and stuff, I was like, man, now I'm excited to do a podcast. Nothing says, hey guys, can you believe we get to talk together and make a creative, hilarious podcast tomorrow, right before I go sign some important papers? I just wanted you to know.
I'm glad, Nick.
Yeah, I'm leasing a cow. I need to get my meat in. You know, it's becoming shortage of meat, so I'm leasing a whole cow.
Yeah, buy one of those wow cows where it's not really meat.
Wow cows.
What is a wow cow?
Yeah,
you know the wow meat. You know, you can buy it. You can get it at like Carl's Jr. has it. You can get a meal and everything, and it's not really meat, but it's a wow burger. And then you can just get a wow cow, man. Get those. That's all the rage.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I heard that Wendy's ran out of meat this week.
Well,
yeah, what's going on there? Because the food there is absolutely delicious. The breakfast? Are you kidding me? Actually, I haven't had the breakfast yet. Have either of you guys?
Yeah, you got to get the honey bacon chicken sandwich. It's worth fighting over.
I like.
Is that a breakfast sandwich?
Yeah, oh yeah, get it in specifically the breakfast time.
I like the number 6.
God.
The number 6. I'm the spicy chicken sandwich. It doesn't only burn on the way in. That's awesome.
So, but that's also not a breakfast sandwich, right?
It would be if I was there.
Oh, what do you do? What do you do to make that a breakfast sandwich? Add an egg to it?
Yeah.
Or?
No, you just have it at breakfast time.
Right.
Done.
Anything can be breakfast if you eat it during breakfast time. Chocolate cake can be for breakfast if you want.
Look, any meal can be breakfast as long as you get up late enough.
have you guys tried to play the podcast on connected devices and or speakers?
Yeah.
Because I know when you try to say to a certain, I'm not going to say her name because it will trigger her, and she's very sensitive.
You mean
hears
Alexa?
Everything.
I mean Alexa?
No,
You're talking about Alexa?
No.
Alexa?
No,
Alexa?
No, Nick. No, she'll. I asked her to play Final Podcast, and then she tries to lead me down a path, like a rabbit hole of other podcasts that have nothing to do with us, and it starts upsetting me, and like somehow I'm having an argument with a computer. Alexa, play Final Podcast.
Playing Final Fantasy.
Alexa, no. Alexa, cancel. Alexa, play Final Podcast with Marconi, Nick, and Tiny.
Playing Final Fantasy.
Alexa, no. Alexa, play Final Alexa, the one in the next room is going off because I've been too loud. So now some other podcast is playing in the next room. Alexa, play the latest episode of Final Podcast.
I found Oprah's Super Soul Conversations.
What does Final Podcast have to do with Oprah?
I couldn't find have to do with Oprah. Try asking me to recommend a podcast.
Why can't you just play the podcast? What if this was the podcast just me trying to get Alexa to play Final Podcast?
I couldn't find Final Podcast anywhere. According to Utah.edu, Senator Marconi.
What the Why? Can you play Final Podcast?
Playing Final Podcast.
That's definitely not us. Play Marconi Podcast.
Playing Marconi Podcast.
Marconi.
Do you want breakfast? No, I want to go home. Yes, finally. That only took 20 minutes. Oh my God. Holy I don't know about you guys. How are we going to go back to normal? Is there ever going to be like what we used to know as normal?
No.
No, not even close.
I mean, I'm jealous of you guys. Will I ever see the two of you physically again?
Yeah, I work in the medical field, so I'll somehow get some kind of pass that lets me go anywhere in the Intercontinental. You know what I mean?
Because Nick and I see each other pretty regularly. When do you think the next time you will be flying around again? How long?
I would say middle of June, July. So probably another 6 weeks.
And do you think in those times when people are trying to do things again, as people start, resurfacing and coming out of their hibernation chambers or whatever we are calling our quarantinery, do you think we're going to start catching the virus even more again? Like, is it going to go back up for a while?
They talk about it. They talk about a second wave, right? They're saying there's going to be a second wave of the virus, and I think what's going to end up happening is they're probably correct. There is going to be a second wave, but now they have to weigh it off. Like, is it how many more deaths we having? It was supposed to be like 1 million, and then it went down to 150,000, then 100. And now they're saying around 70,000. Well, we bridged 70,000 already, so. What's going to happen is they're going to start opening places up again, and if people start getting sick, and again they're going to start shutting it down.
They're going to open the gates again, and people are going to be like, "Hey," they're going to go nuts. Like maybe they'll try to do like a concert or something like that, where people sit in their cars and watch live music, or whatever it is to pass the time, just to get out of the house. And people are going to start not wearing their masks and not social distancing. I mean, flying alone, you're already in a petri dish, as they say. Are you worried about that going back, Nick? Are you going to wear a hazmat suit on the plane?
No, I think planes, they're saying, are probably going to be one of the safest places. So it's going to be fairly healthy to be on a plane as long as you wear a mask and they clean everything off.
How, though?
Well, because it's a controlled environment, right? You know who's getting on and you know who's getting off if they do temperature checks or whatever before you get on, and they wipe everything down. You're in a, you know who's on there, if anybody's had it, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Okay, how do when they administer temperature checks, they're not rectal, right?
I think that's voluntary. You can opt for the rectal check.
Andy, would you be the guy at the airport?
That would be me making it awkward as hell, bending over. No, sir, not that kind. Just check it. Check it. You're getting paid. Check it. This is the proper way. Check it. I'll spread, you
This
check.
is the best way to know.
Yeah, this is way more accurate, Linda. I'll spread. Get in there.
I mean, I don't know how the coronavirus tests work, Andy. Can they be taken fecally?
What?
No, I don't think so. It's a no. But the general public doesn't know that yet.
Right. So just tell them that's how you do it. I'm sorry, we're gonna need a fecal sample before you can get on this plane.
Yeah,
Are you suggesting that we hoodwink people into telling them that this is for medical procedures?
I just think that would be
Sure,
funny.
why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why not? Sure.
absolutely.
You know how much crap I got to deal with, literally. Yeah, let me have this one.
So, because to me, it's devastating to me thinking about how long it will be until I can dream of a day, where I wish that I was home. 'Cause now I just want to be outside, and it's weird. I want to be outside, but not for like any length of time, like walking around the block. And I know I can, but I don't trust people enough. People are still not wearing their masks and not social distancing. And they're like I'll put on my dumb mask made out of a sock or whatever it is. Have you seen the people making masks out of socks? Like,
Yeah.
That's just, don't do that. I mean, wouldn't it just be easier to make one out of a t-shirt and just put something that's on your foot? That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's all you got?
I've seen some TikTok videos on how to make them, and I thought it might be fun to try and make one.
Oh, no. No. Why? How could any of this be fun?
But could you imagine like having breath that smells like feet?
Breathing out would not be the issue. It would be breathing in.
Yuck.
Oh, man.
You'd have athlete's mouth. Have you ever thought about this? We all have very different tastes in music. Very different tastes.
I think Andy and I come closer, and like if Andy introduces me to something that I haven't heard, 9 times out of 10 I will like it because he's got decent taste in music. Like Andy loves hip hop. Would you say?
Oh yeah, all day.
I know that because when he shows up here at the studios, I can hear him coming from like 2 blocks away. The car pulls rolling. Yeah, the car pulls into the driveway, and I see the glint of gold chains through a very smoke-filled cab.
Yep,
he does have a chimpanzee in rubber pants that rides with him in the trunk, right?
No, that's actually him.
Yeah, but Andy, like, you enjoy hip hop. Are you all modern, or do you like old school? What's your genre of choice?
I like to think that I keep pretty current with it. I definitely have my old school go-to playlist, but some of the new stuff is okay. Some of it isn't for sure. And, that's them. I don't necessarily get on a forum or express my hate for it. I choose not to.
Right, like you're not a Facebook dad that's angry about rap music or whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna get on there and take the time to make a comment and say this guy sucks. Just let him live, do his thing.
So I have a question for you, Andy, because and I'll set up the question. I've been watching the new CBS drama called Tommy with Edie Falco. She was in The Sopranos and Nurse Jackie, and she's a great actress. But they had a scene there where some rapper got shot, and she was listening as the chief of police for Los Angeles. She was listening to some of his music to try and understand him better and find out, he was a gang member. And the other cops were listening to it and go, no, it's way too West Coast. It's just not cool. Only the East Coast stuff is cool. I didn't even know there was an East Coast and a West Coast rap.
What? Have you ever heard of Tupac and Biggie?
Yeah, but I just thought it was rap.
That's the whole the world evolves in hip hop around East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, see,
that's everything.
If it's not Justin Bieber, I don't get it.
You are whiter than I ever thought you were. But still, like, I love how Nick relates to hip hop through the whitest show on television. I posted in our Facebook group a video it was some TikTok. And I don't know, Nick, maybe the technical words, but what they used, they were making ham sandwiches I don't know, a conveyor belt.
Yeah, a factory.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And first, the one side is buttered, and I'll play some of the audio.
A large helping of melted butter is added to the slices to help them pass through the upcoming machinery. For this sandwich, a jizz of mayonnaise is required.
What is a jizz of mayo?
They squirt. There's a lot of mayo on those sandwiches. You notice how much mayo they put on?
So much. Why is there so much on there? How dry is it?
I'd like to lie Andy on the conveyor belt and have that mayo squeezed into his mouth.
I mean, you got the whole video. You had me, man. That looks like a good setup to have at my house. But you had when the mayonnaise squirted out, I was done. I had to shut my phone off and cuss at somebody. That was horrible.
They referred to it as a jizz of mayonnaise, and I'm like, is that a real non-sexual term?
I refuse to acknowledge it.
Well, but that's what the instructional video said, a jizz of mayonnaise.
For this sandwich, a jizz of mayonnaise is required.
Just Google really quick, a jizz as a measurement.
The theory of quantum molecular dynamics. It's a measurement in quantum molecular dynamics. Still nothing to do with a sandwich, I'll have you know.
But it's a quantum molecular, which would be the mayonnaise. So a jizz of mayonnaise is correct.
No, an application of quantum molecular dynamics, which is dynamics is a movement of something, right?
It's moving through the conveyor belt.
This is a stretch.
And the jizz of mayonnaise is a molecular structure, right? There's molecules in that. And it just...
Yuck!
It says jizz in British or English, and then it's a noun, old-fashioned humorous wig.
What?
On the Collins English Dictionary, it says jizz, Scottish old-fashioned humorous wig.
Does it show a picture?
No, that's what it says in the Collins Dictionary.
And then the video continues on after, I guess, Tiny threw his phone down, threw it away when he saw that, the mayonnaise. But then it goes on.
In another area, traditional ham logs are squished into a slicing coffin.
A ham log?
That's fun to say.
The slices go off to the assembly line where they are then added to the sandwiches. Barehandedly, of course, for an added salty flavor.
I didn't even know. Can you buy an entire ham log and slice it yourself at home? What? And then it squeezes the ham log into a coffin for slicing. There's a ham log coffin. Can somebody just Google ham log really quick?
Is it weird that it already pops up on my search?
Let me advise you to take precautions. I know of a case of where a husband went to a convention and brought home an unwelcomed visitor. Oh, yes.
All right, so Nick wanted to try something, Andy. I thought this was an interesting one. I'm confused by it, but Nick does have a good mind for fun and games. So, Nick, please take it away.
So, Andy, what we thought we'd do is we'd quiz you on what was a medicine and what was a disease. And so we'll give you two.
Yeah, Andy is a medical professional. He told us once on one of our... Yeah, he told us he's a doctor. I don't know if that's true. I'm just going to believe him because he's my friend. So obviously,
he has rubber gloves and a mask, and he has various clinics at his house.
But he has scrubs when he comes over, right? Do you have a stethoscope?
Always.
How much does a stethoscope run a guy?
You can get one for $20, but the one that I have is close to 200 because it's better. You can hear through fat people walls.
you can hear through a ham loaf with that.
Yeah, I can hear through a ham loaf.
Like, do you ever use it like at home to hear through walls or anything like that? Supersonic?
Yeah, if someone's on the phone, please believe I'm up against the wall with it. I hear all sorts of good stuff.
Oh my god! So Nick, now what are you going to do? You're going to ask we're going to give him Andy.
Going to give him two words. One is a disease and one is a medicine, and see if he can identify which is which.
All right, here we go.
Okay, gabapentin, and prosphagnosia, which is a medicine and which is a disease. The two words are gabapentin and prognososia.
The second one is the disease. Gabapentin is the medication.
Yeah, gabapentin is for seizures, and the second one is facial blindness.
Yep.
How do they name medications, by the way?
Latin.
They're always just these weird, it's all Latin?
It's part Latin and part pulling a name out of a hat.
Who decides what names are going to be given? Just whoever creates it?
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Well, wouldn't you name it after yourself just to be, kind of egocentric?
Oh, I would. Absolutely. If I would have made antibiotics, it would not have been antibiotics. It would have been antibiotics.
But then if something goes wrong with that medication and somebody dies, then I died from antibiotics and I'm dead now. Thanks a lot, Andy, whoever you are, Dr. Andy.
It's a small price to pay because it saves so many lives.
Try this one, Andy. Which is a disease and which is a medicine? Galacentocell and pegaparagase.
The second one, no. The first one is the disease. The second one's a medication.
Ooh, we got it right. Galacentocell is another name for a lactal cyst. Yep. And pegaparagase is the medication for leukemia.
So is that like a lactal cyst? I'm going to guess, is that something involving a mom that just had a baby? Like
lactal cyst would be a cyst in the breast area, which cyst is a pussy mass.
Yeah.
Can a man get one?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. There's ducks in there. They're just not. We just can't make no milk. Yeah, we don't make no milk.
No. Why do we have ducks if we can't make milk? I mean, come on. Could somebody?
I know.
Can that be? Is that a surgery you can have to have that adjusted for milk makers?
Ooh, I wonder if you're onto something there. What if a woman was unable to produce milk? Dad could step in.
Yeah, why not? We're given these ducts for a reason, right? It's not just to sit there barren. Let me give to my child.
Yeah.
Let me take give him some of my dad milk.
Oh God. Oh, now CPS is involved.
Let's try the third one. Is this a medication or a disease? Lafora and eplicity.
Can you say the first one? Is there supposed to be a T in the first one?
No, Lafora.
No, the first one is Sephora. It's a makeup. It's a makeup. A place where my girlfriend spends all of her money getting makeup. Final answer. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
Leplicity and Lafora.
Lafora is the disease.
It is. It's a progressive myoclonus epilepsy, and eplicity is the medicine for bone cancer.
I don't want to jinx anything, but I just want to let everyone know that I'm batting 1,000.
So what is Lafora? Is a disease?
A progressive myoclonus epilepsy.
Jeez! Wow.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, it's almost harder to say the explanation than the name.
It sounds like like I said, it sounds like Sephora. It reminded me of that, obviously, but it also sounds like it could be a musical. And
I got two tickets to Lafora tonight.
Yeah. What would it be if it was a musical full of people that have seizures? Like it would just be triggers, and then
that'd either be a really short show or really long. You don't know until you get there.
All right, what else, Nick? What do you have?
Hyzentra or Aclavaria. Sorry, Lycentra or Aclavaria.
That sounds like a Harry Potter spell, first of all, sir.
or a model like. Oh man, did you see Hyzentra on the Victoria's Secret modeling show? That was
Hyzentra and Aclavaria.
I believe the Hyzentra. I believe that's the medication.
Hyzentra is a medicine for immune deficiency, and Aclavaria is a rare malformation characterized by the absence of flat skull bone.
Wow, that's specific.
Yeah. It's a malformation characterized by the absence of the flat skull bone, which means what? You don't have a flat head? I'm not sure.
Because I was born and they had to use the tongs to get me out. I'm pretty sure
that's the shape of your head, right?
It messed my head because I have like a pointy skull, and like when I shave, you've seen me when I shave my head down, I look like that character when they had Michael Jackson, that episode now that they've deleted from the history of Michael Jackson as a mental patient when he had a shaved head. I look like that character when I have my head shaved. And so I feel like the tongs gave me, what was that word?
Acrovaria.
Maybe I have. I don't know. I mean, I have all my bones in my head, but I mean, I don't know. I have a soft upper palate. Is that anything?
The only time I've ever seen anyone with their head shaved is when you made a Tiny shave his head like a monk on the old show. Do you remember that?
What I love about that photo is, and it gets put on like shock jock lists, and then the pictures of us. And then it'll be like a big fat one of me. And then a big, just like the worst under the, like, I don't know, somebody was on their knees shooting a picture of me. And then Andy, it's the day that we did this bit and he had to shave like a horseshoe into his head. And that's the best. And everyone else on the shock jock list, by the way, has professional glossy 8x10s, and we have this random in-studio snapshot of us just looking like a sack of potatoes with a shaved head. It's great.
I've seen that one. It's horrible. It's so bad.
It really is bad.
Well, I think that's time to wrap it up and call it a day. I'm going to say see you later here till the next time. All the best to you, and keep your shorts on, and you'll stay out of trouble. Bye-bye.
I don't know. We said a lot of things. I appreciate everyone listening, all three of you. It's really important. We do it for you. Right, Andy?
And you over there, too.
It's like Sound of Music. For you, and you, and you, and you, and you.
Oh, is that where that song came from?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nick has to go sign some papers. I think he's signing his life away probably, but I hope that it all works out for you. And is there anything you'd like to leave us with, Nick?
Yes, my fortune.
Oh, all right. What is that? What does that entail?
5 dogs and a can of SpaghettiOs.
Oh, I was hoping you would at least leave me that ham coffin for slicing.
Get your own ham coffin.
Please.
What do you think I'm going to be buried in?
Marconi, Nick, and Tiny. Final podcast. Find full episodes everywhere you get your podcasts at finalpod.com.